say your
What was
spiel.
your craziest on-air moment?
Oh God, I have so many. I don't know.
Give me
Um,
a couple.
I'll give you one that's like it's like not always the best thing to share, but my very first job in TV news was in Greenville, Mississippi, which is like the Bible Belt, and I was like right out of college, so like 22 years old, and I was live in the newsroom, which is basically like they just kind of cue you and you say your thing, and I didn't know I was on because I wasn't getting the cue. And this new girl that had just started was asking me a bunch of questions and I was like answering her. So I was kind of looking like this off to the side. And then I looked over and I saw that I had been on camera and I didn't know for how long. And I just looked right in the camera and I went, oh, curse word. And and then I went, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I said my thing and then it went off. And then I just went, uh-oh, I just cursed on air. This was like pre the Janet Jackson Super Bowl thingy. So it was like the FCC hadn't like quite cracked down as crazy, but I was so devastated. I thought, oh my gosh, they're going to fire me right now. I think I just got fired from my first job. So they did pull me into the boss's office and they said, well, you need to go on a week suspension, unpaid leave, and you can come back in a week. And I was so embarrassed and so devastated. So that was the most crazy thing that's ever happened to me on camera. And then for years, I didn't curse. Like not a single word. I changed everything in my vocabulary. I would say like, oh, sugar, or like anything else besides curse words. And
Yeah.
I eliminated it because I was like, I will be fired if I ever do that again. So that was pretty crazy. I mean, I literally
Oh
cursed
my
at
gosh.
6 p.m. in the Bible Belt, like right into the camera.
Well, I remember being like, we were up late one night. It was like, middle of the night kind of news. And I don't remember the station, but we're in the Cincinnati area. And there were two reporters and they were talking. And they got a little risque with one another and very flirtatious.
Oh no. Did they know the camera was on?
I don't know, but it was like, did they just say that on air?
That's so funny.
So
Yeah.
I was just it was like one of those moments that I'm sure if anybody was watching, they would have been in trouble.
Like what? Well, I had one other time. I'll give you one other funny story. And a lot of these happened like before YouTube bloopers are like a big thing. And I'm so grateful because I think I would have been all over YouTube's bloopers. But so before when you anchor, you get your script ahead of time and you kind of like go through all your scripts and you change things, you put it in your own wording, you know what you're going to say. Well, so it was me and a co-anchor, and this co-anchors, I usually didn't read the co-anchor stories because, that's double the work to prep. Well, they cued me for the co-anchor story. So
Oh
I'd never
no.
seen it. So it was in the teleprompter.
Yeah.
And I'm reading it, and it just happened to be a story about like Iran's nuclear sanctions. And it listed like every single person in the Iranian parliament, which is like every name I completely butchered.
I bet, because that's you. I have to look things up to pronounce them
Yeah.
sometimes.
So I had no idea what I was saying. I started laughing midway through it because I was doing such a horrible job. Meanwhile, this is a very serious topic. And people at home don't know why is this girl laughing about nuclear sanctions? So anyways, it finally like ended. And I remember I just like, it was on camera. I looked over at the co-anchor and I just started laughing so hard. And the co-anchor couldn't help but laugh too, because they knew what was going on. And then it like cut to commercial break. And I think that station got a few phone calls of like, is she drunk on air? Like, why is she laughing? Like, oh gosh.
I don't think everybody out there can be a reporter. No,
You have to roll with things. And yeah, apparently you never know what you're going to be reading.
Oh my gosh. Now, have you had any embarrassing guests? Did you ever interview people on the camera?
That were embarrassing? Oh, probably. I'm trying to think of anything that happened there. Oh gosh, I am sure I've interviewed my fair share of embarrassing. I mean, there were always people that would like, when you're live, there's always people I don't know, I would say idiots, but maybe there's a nicer word to use, that like always want to run up behind you and make silly things. And you're just like, okay, I'm about to like, yeah, or like yell things. And you're like, I'm about to report on like a really serious, sad topic. Like, don't stand in back of me making silly faces. But
I remember doing Kangoo jumps, like the bouncy shoes on air. And right before we went on, I think she asked me if the floor surface was okay. And I'm like, yes. And they had some kind of a twister tie on the ground. And I fell completely before but you know what? Thank God the cameras were not on, because then nobody would want to do kangaroo jumps, because they're completely safe. It was just, you can't step on a rock, or you can't step on, like, it has to
Mm-hmm.
be like a smooth surface. And
Oh yeah,
so that was kind of funny.
that is
And
funny.
she was all about that. We showed up in our shorts and tank tops, and she was worried that since it's Cincinnati, she wasn't sure. Like, she's like, I'm going to get a ton of calls from women that would be like, oh, I can't believe you let them wear that on air.
And probably nobody cared.
No, I don't think so. Nobody
That
called.
is funny. No, I don't think I had any like really bad guests that at least that I can remember. Like I said, if I had anyone bad, I probably blocked them out of my memory and was like, just,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
So you really transformed your whole entire life and your mission. What is the biggest thing that you feel like has, I mean, a lot of us are afraid out there when we're in a job we hate and we don't know the other side of things. What would you say today to encourage somebody that may be in a job they hate, they know that it isn't right for them, like you knew? What
Mhm.
would you be your biggest thing to tell them today?
I would tell them pay attention to that. If you're feeling stressed every day, like stress is going to manifest in your body in different ways, and you don't need that. Like you don't need to live like that. So if your job is not giving you a sense of purpose or mission, first look at your job. Maybe you can change your particular job to be more, in line with your mission, and also figure out what is your why. What do you want to do with your purpose, on this planet? And I think everyone has a purpose. I think a lot of people don't know what their purpose is. And at the end of your life, do you want to look back and be like, I'm so glad I worked in that office and did something I hated for all those years? Or do you want to look back and be like, wow, I'm so glad I made this impact on the world? And maybe your impact is just to come into work and make the people you interact with have better days. And that's totally fine, as long as that's filling your soul. But if you're going into work every day and you're like, I hate this, I hate my boss, I hate this place of work, I hate everything about it, then I think you just need to do some soul searching. And I wouldn't just say, oh, quit your job tomorrow if you don't have the financial means. I mean, but really think about it and get a side hustle. Like, could you do what you're passionate about? And then when you have enough where you've realized, okay, I've worked hard at this, I'm making an income with it, I can replace my other income and do that.
And would you say that, I think it's that space between think leaping and not leaping where the
Mm-hmm.
fear lies. What would you say? You took the leap. Do you regret it?
No, leap, leap, and your parachute will open. I promise, or you'll hit the rocks and you'll survive. But one thing we always say as entrepreneurs, my husband and I, is ready, fire, aim. And basically, it's like if you do ready, aim, fire, you're just going to be aiming forever and you're going to miss your opportunities. But just go out and do it and perfect it as you go. It's like having a podcast. Like, I'm still learning. My every episode I think gets a little bit better, but it's still not perfect, and that's okay because I'm getting it out into the world. I've started. And so I think exactly what you're doing too. Like, you went for it and you're still going for it. And is it perfect? It's probably not where you want it to be, but it's going to get there. But you went for it, and
I love that.
yeah, you're only going to regret what you don't try.
I love that. That's great. What are 3 simple tips you can leave with our audience today? And they can be funny or serious.
Oh gosh, I feel like I'm giving a lot of tips. All right, let's see. 3 simple tips.
I'm milking you today.
No, what do I have left in me? 3 simple tips. Make your bed. That's something I didn't always do, and I just started doing it. And I'm like, wow, it does make a difference. Make your bed. There we go. There's one. Let's see. Have good friends. Get a good group of girlfriends if you're a girl. I think it's so important. We talked about mean girls in the beginning, and if I didn't have my best friends in this world, I don't know where they'd be.